In this video, I'm going to do a simulation of Bayesact, where Bayesact is going to implement an agent that knows its own affective identity, but does not know the affective identity of the person that it's interacting with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use interact in order to simulate that person. So we're going to do a simulation of a tutor and a student. Bayesact will be the tutor, and interact will be the student. So first of all, I've got to set up Bayesact Interactive Python, and I've got to make a couple of changes to the defaults. So agent's knowledge will be 0, which means it does not know the affective identity of the client. However, it does know its own identity. It is a tutor. It knows its own gender, and it knows the client's gender. It does not know the identity of the client, so I'll set that to be nothing, although that's ignored if agent knowledge is 0. So those are all the changes I need. I'm going to start up Bayesact Interactive here, and we'll notice a couple of things. The first one is that here is its affective identity, so 1.5, 1.45 minus 0.18, which is the affective identity of a tutor. And the Bayesact agent, remember, does not know the affective identity of the student that it's interacting with. And so it has a very wide probability distribution over the full EPA space, and the average of that probability distribution is given here 0.39, 0.5, 0.49. So based on that, the first thing it should do is to confide in. So I'm going to make it do that. So it will confide in the person that it's interacting with. It doesn't know that this is a student. Now, in order to figure out what a student would do in response to that, I'm going to use interact, which is going to be simulating Tom Tutor interacting with Sam Student, and Sam Student knows that he is a student, and Tom Tutor knows that he's a tutor in this simulation. So I'll go to define events, and we'll use confide in as the first event, and then we'll go to analyze events, and we will analyze this event. So this is Tom Tutor here, this bald guy, and this is Sam Student. So interact tells us that the deflection minimizing action for a student in this situation is to answer. Okay, so this is a student who knows that he's interacting with a student, with a tutor. Okay, so now we put that into Bayesact, so the student answers the tutor, and this helps the tutor figure out that, this person that I'm interacting with has a higher E value than I thought, so 1.0, and a little bit higher, roughly the same P value, potency, and a little bit higher activity. So the probability distribution over identities is collapsing, or it's focusing in on something closer to this, and the closest identity in the database is liberal. And the best thing that the Bayesact agent thinks it should do next is to soothe. So it will try to soothe this person, and then we'll go over here and see what the person will do in response. So Tom Tutor is going to soothe, and the best thing for Sam Student to do is to chit-chat with. So we'll make Sam Student chit-chat with over here and see what Tom Tutor can get out of that. Now it's got an affective identity of 1.4, 0.16, 0.9. And down here from the affective database, we can see the actual affective identity of a student is 1.49, 0.31, 0.75. So it's already gotten fairly close, and the closest identity is student. But remember, Bayesact is maintaining a whole probability distribution. So the fact that the closest one is student does not necessarily mean that the whole probability distribution is focused around student. So we'll do another iteration to see what happens next. So Bayesact, the tutor, will try to soothe, and we'll make him do that over here. Now, I don't see soothe in this list right away, so I'm going to have to go over here and put it in the define events screen. So I'll go find soothe, and I'll put this in, soothe. Now when I go back to analyzing these events, I want to analyze all these events in a row. And so in order to make that happen, I go to select options, and I select run events automatically. So I've already done that, and so I can go back to analyze events now. And when I click on the first one, it will run all of them in a row. So we can see here's the trajectory of different things. And Sam's student's reaction to that will be to chat with. And so we'll put that in here, chat with. And we can see that it's now no longer the closest identity to the mean is not student, it's niece. But again, the affective profile is quite similar to that of student, so 1.8, 0.1, 0.84.